Welcome to Herbalicious Alchemy, the podcast where oils, oracles, and soul talk flow. We're Suzi and Sallyanne, here to guide you through the healing power of essential oils, the wisdom of the Akashic record, and the rhythms of the moon. Let's drop in, get cozy, and explore the magic. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Herbalicious Alchemy podcast. We're excited to be here with you again. Hi Sallyanne, how are you?
Hi, Susie. I'm great, thank you. And what are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about energetic overwhelm and how to reset. We're coming up to Christmas. Emotions can be all over the place. There's a lot of pressure on us at Christmas, and maybe we don't realize quite how much pressure we put ourselves through by, feeling obligated to go and do things, by feeling obligated to buy presents, visit family. And sometimes a lot of guilt and shame and all of those things can come up around this time of year. So we're really going to connect into making sure that we're not going into overwhelm and how to release overwhelm if we do, and then how to have a nice reset ready for the Christmas period.
Mhm. Amazing.
Yeah, so I think it's nice that it's come up. So this was the download from the Akashic records today for us to talk about and get into today. So let's talk a little bit about how we go into overwhelm. Like I said, Christmas is it's a stressful time for most
Mhm.
people, isn't it? But there are other ways that we go into overwhelm, and one of those things is actually energy leaks. So it would be a good idea to look at where you are leaking your energy. So maybe you're overthinking Christmas and overthinking all the shopping you've got to do and the food you've got to buy and, all of those different things. Maybe you're people pleasing, right? So you're going to events and things that perhaps aren't really in alignment with you, but you're going because you're a people pleaser. Maybe there's some open-ended conversation, so that can put a little bit of pressure on us as well, as in, you haven't got closure to a conversation, so you don't know perhaps where you are, what the result of the conversation is going to be, all of those kind of things. But also social media, that can be the biggest energy leak that we experience because it's so on the go all the time. It's advertisements, it's bad news. Like the news as well is another one. If you can turn the news off, especially over this period, that's going to be really, really helpful because most of the stories tend to focus on the bad news and the terrible things that are happening. And that can literally drain our energy because we are being shown negativity all of the time,
Mhm.
right? And we need positivity in our lives. We don't need the constant reminder of the bad things, the negative things that are happening in the world. Personally, I haven't watched the news for 15 years.
I haven't. Susie, I was just thinking, oh gosh, I don't watch the news. It's not been as long as 15 years. I think it's probably like 8 or 9 for me. I
Yeah.
find that if I see something happening on social media and somebody hints at something that's big, I'll just ask somebody just let me know briefly in a very short
Yes.
sentence, positively, what's going on. It frustrates my husband because he's always in the news. But
Mm.
if I can't do something about it personally, I don't want to be leaking my energy worrying about it or thinking about it. I can do positive in my sphere of influence.
Absolutely. And the work that we do, Sally Ann, we are making an impact. We're helping people, we're helping the community, we're help raising the collective, right? So we are inputting. So we don't need this cycle of negativity because, it's upsetting, especially for empaths, and sensitive people when, you see all these horrific things happening, you can't help but
Mm.
feel deep, deep sadness. And then that puts us in this energy of maybe even woe, of overwhelm. And then it's very hard to focus on the positive stuff
Yeah.
and help the clients that we're helping, and help talk about oils to help people change their
Yes.
lives and their outcomes, right?
Yeah. I always feel like if you are with somebody and they have an emotional issue going on with them, you absorb that emotion, which is a form of leaking your energy because by absorbing their lower energy, lower
Hmm.
frequency emotion, that is a form of you leaking energy because you're having to address that lower energy.
Yeah, 100%. So, other ways that we can leak energy are hooks and cords. So, a hook and a cord is created between two people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Two people that interact quite a lot generally. So, your partner, your friends. And that means that you can pick up on their emotions, their energy, their vibration, and all of those things. So, clearing energetic cords and attachments. So, if you've had some bad relationships, whether that's romantic relationships, friendships, hooks can be put into you as well. So, that person can literally
I have
drain
I
your
have a really good
energy.
example of that, Susie. So I always talk to people, like for example, if they've got lower back pain, those hooks are draining their energy probably from the sacral chakra. And quite
Mm.
often, if you've had a day and you come home and you've got a little bit of tension or a bit of pain somewhere, if you can work out which chakra it is, you can work out which is the dominant emotion that is draining that energy.
Yeah.
And I had a lady who is a respected wellness advocate. She'd been teaching and helping people how to use essential oils for all sorts of things. And she had these terrible migraines, really bad headache.
Mm.
And nothing was touching it. None of the oils that would normally clear migraine, none of the oils for pain, nothing was doing it. And so she got in touch with me and said, Sallyanne, can you help me? She was a fellow sort of like leader in another team. And I said, okay, tell me what's been going on. She says, I've got this massive headache. And I thought, well, that's your crown chakra. I said, have you been attacked? Like, has anybody attacked you? Have had a massive injury on your head or somebody shouted at you emotionally?
Mm.
And she said, no, no, no. Anyway, she rang me back about an hour or two later and said, yes, my 5-year-old autistic grandson got really angry with me and he hit me over the head with a pillow and I laughed. And I said, well, you've got an energetic hook attached. That autistic child has put that there and it's
Yeah.
leaking the energy and it's getting worse and worse. It's a bit like if you put an ice cube in your hand, Susie,
Yeah.
it's not going to burn and feel painful straight away. You're going to just feel the cold. But if you leave it there, it gets more and more painful. And that's your brain realizing that it cannot replace the energy back into that part of the hand to replace what it's losing. And I feel like that's when we've got a hook that's leaking our energy, the pain comes on and on and on. And when
Yeah.
you remove that ice cube, the pain doesn't go away straight away. You have to wait for that spot to re-energize to get warm again. It's the same when we've released the hooks, we've got to
Yeah.
wait for that energy to flow back in. And she did a cleansing of her energy and she cleared all those chakra points and all those hooks and the
Mm.
headache went away for the first time in months and months and months. And it was an energetic cleansing, Susie. Isn't that exciting?
That is absolutely amazing. And I would definitely, if you feel that you've got a hook or a cord, go back to one of our earlier sessions where we talk about clearing your energy with tea
Mm.
tree and lemongrass,
Teacher
right?
millennials, yeah. And
Yeah.
if you haven't if you can't find the episode, do try and find the episode. But you're going to put melaleuca down the spine. You're going to put lemongrass on top of your head. You're going to break those chakra points. There's more to it, but just to remind you, if you listened and you're like, "What was it?" There it was.
Yeah. 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 So if you remember tea tree and lemongrass, we talk about that in those
Mm.
episodes. So have you ever walked down the street, Sally Ann, and just, you've been quite happy going along and you get home and you just feel absolutely exhausted and you just don't know why.
Yeah, you get a thermostat reading when you arrive home.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, we all have an aura, right? And if you're walking down the street and you don't know about your aura and you don't bring it in close to you, people can actually walk through your aura. So when you're Christmas shopping, it's really, really busy. Loads of people around. You can pick up on that person's energy that has walked through your aura. So if you pick up on someone that's feeling down, that's feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, you're going to feel that, right? So it is important to pay attention to your aura and to imagine your aura and like suck it into you, like, like an inch away from you before you go out shopping, and then clear your aura again when you get home. So we'll talk a little bit about this later as I've got some ideas for you.
Mhm.
So that's another big one. So it doesn't have to be shopping, it could be Christmas parties, all of those kind of things. Just make sure people aren't walking through your aura and leaving their energy imprints
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
your aura. So that's another big one. But also old trauma loops. So if you've experienced trauma that you haven't cleared and you haven't healed, then those loops can keep coming round again. So that may be another one that, sorry, that's playing out for you.
Yeah, I was actually thinking when you override your own needs, and I was really proud of myself last night because um, Granny had created this lovely dinner for all of us, and I'd eaten earlier in the day, and I was fully satiated then, and I did not need to eat again. But I felt this little bit of pressure to eat because somebody else had cooked a delicious meal, and we were
Mm.
all sitting down together, and I really didn't. I just knew I didn't need it. I didn't want it. And I just said politely that I'm not ready to eat that now, but I'll eat it tomorrow or when I'm ready. And of course, she was totally fine with that. And I felt this burst of energy because I'd actually honored my own needs in that moment. Whereas usually I would just sit and eat it because that was the thing, and I'd probably feel disappointed with myself later. And I'm sure that's a flow of energy. Like, anyway, I wonder if that's what you're talking about, Susie. It just came to
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Because had you eaten and not wanted to eat, you've actually given your power away
Mm.
to someone else, right? You've given your energy away by doing something that wasn't in alignment with you for sure.
Mm.
So you did well there.
Yeah, I
So
felt
also,
proud.
I want to touch on the spiritual side of things as
Yeah.
well. So you can give your energy away and step into overwhelm by doing too many spiritual rituals, by um by putting pressure on yourself to like always be switched on, right? Sometimes we've talked about this in previous
Hmm.
episodes. We need stillness, we need quiet, we need space to reset and all of those things, right? We don't want to be spiritually on all the time, right? So just making sure that, you're not doing too many things, you're not putting pressure on yourself to do too many rituals, to do too many readings, to do too many meditations and all of those things, because that can become a leak.
Yeah.
Okay. And going back to auras as well, we've talked about, people walking through our aura, we've talked about hooks and cords, but also we can have rips and tears in our aura as well. That energy can leak out of as well. So we want to make sure that we spend some time looking after our aura, right? Self-care of the aura is really, really important because that will have a massive effect on your energy, on how you're thinking. When your aura is open or you're leaking energy, you may feel exhausted, fatigued, irritable, lack clarity, all of those different things. So these things that we're talking about are really, really important for your own energy, for your own sanity,
Yeah.
as well, right? Because we can go through a lot of emotions when we're in overwhelm, when we're leaking energy as well, right? It can be like a bit of a roller coaster. So making sure that the energy that you are holding is yours.
Hmm.
And we can do that through muscle testing, through journaling, and just asking the question, this energy that I'm feeling, is it mine? And you can muscle test on that. And we did a lot on muscle testing last week. So go check out that episode. Or you can go into the Akashic records and actually ask, where has this energy come from? Right? And that will give you answers. Or of course, you can use your deck if you've got it. You
Hmm.
can ask, where is this energy coming from? Or where am I leaking energy? Where am I feeling overwhelmed? All of those different things, they can be looked at through journaling, through the Akashic records, or through your deck.
I have a
So,
question. I have a
yeah,
question. So you were talking about bringing your aura in to protect yourself.
yeah,
But how does the aura go out? Does it just naturally sort of drift out and we have to keep bringing it back in? Or is there a
yeah.
time when we want our aura to be wider?
Yeah, so when we're working spiritually, we want our aura to be out, right? So that we can connect with the person that we're working with, right? But when we're not, we want our aura to be close to us so that no one can accidentally
Hmm.
step into our aura or drain us or, any of those things. So, I think most people, if they're unaware of their aura, it's going to be way, way, way out, right? Um, and they've never been taught to bring their aura in. So, what you can do is just sit with your eyes closed and just imagine your aura. Just imagine where it is. Like you'll get a sense of where it is. You're not making it up. Your intuition is guiding you. And then just imagine sucking it into about 1 to 2 inches away from you. So do the sides, do the back and front, do the top and the bottom, and bring it all in so that your aura is, a nice shape and it's very, very close to you. And then if you're working with someone, if you're working spiritually, and you need to connect to that person, you can do the opposite. And from your heart center, expand your heart, and that will bring your aura out with it.
Wow. Thank you, Susie.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. So, what amazing oil are we working with today, Sally Ann?
Oh, well, there's one oil that sings to me, and that would be adaptive. It's an oil
Yes.
blend. It's a blend of some lovely oils, some lovely oils, some lovely single oils. Um, and adaptive was primarily designed to or developed to help move with stress, um, to bring your energy up and down. It's an incredible oil for a positive sense of self, which is
Mm,
what we need. Um, the lavender in it is very relaxing. There's neroli as well, magnolia, which is such a beautiful oil. The wild orange is very uplifting. The spearmint is very good for connecting the brain with the mouth for communication, but also it helps you to think and think clearly. And when we're going into overwhelm,
mm,
if you imagine that stress is like this, you've got too high stress and too low. If someone's sitting down here, they're laid on the couch, they're not being challenged, they're not achieving anything. And when people are up here, they start here at the beginning of the day, and a tiny amount of stress bumps them into overwhelm, and they just keep bumping into it like this. What this beautiful oil does is it reminds you that the starting point is here, and
mm,
it also helps to widen the area that you're living in before you go into overwhelm. So it really moves with you. It helps to
mm,
bring you out of overwhelm. It helps you to lower your stress levels so that it takes a lot more to hit into the overwhelm. So it's a fantastic oil. It works. If you're really stressed, it works really well very, very quickly.
mm,
If you're not stressed, but you know you're going to become stressed, you're going into a stress environment, you can use it as a preventative, and you can just use it during the day just to, I mean, it's so grounding, it's so relaxing and uplifting. It's an amazing oil and blended scientifically to when you smell it, it tingles all those receptors in the brain to create all the right emotions and all the right moods to support you. And they
mm,
actually did a study on adaptive. And they got some test students, they got students for university because they're quite intelligent and they're used to studying. And they put them in two different rooms and they had adaptive going in one of the rooms and they gave them the same exam papers. And the exam paper started off quite easy and then it got tougher and tougher and tougher. And it was designed to make it really stressful. And all of the group in the adaptive room did so much better because they it took them so much longer before they hit stress, so they continued to perform. Whereas the
Mm.
group that didn't have the adaptive were really getting frustrated and stressed through the test and didn't perform well at all. And it just proves that with the right tool, you can really help yourself, Susie. So I think adaptive is the right one for today's topic.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, adaptive calms emotional chaos, doesn't it? And overwhelm is definitely
Mm.
on the list of emotional chaos, but also can help with mental overload. So, if you're thinking about all the things you've got to do at Christmas and all the work you've got to do and all the food shopping you've got to do, then this can really help to calm that down. It can also anchor you in the present moment
Mhm.
because like Christmas at this point is in the future, it's not in the present moment. So it can stop you from spinning out about, all of those things that you are thinking about. It can also help unwind trauma, right? So
Mm.
if you have trauma imprints, you've had, trauma in your past, then this is a great oil to use because it will help calm the nervous system, right?
Mhm.
And start to gently unwind that trauma. Okay. And it's great for emotional resets as well, which is, really what we're
That's the
talking
one.
about today.
Emotional reset. Now, I got a little thing for that because I was thinking along exactly the same lines. So, you talked about coming home and feeling drained. I talk to people about how um, at home we know what our emotional energy levels tend to be. We know what our average, we know
Mm,
where our thermostat is set on our emotional levels. So let's say you're normally here and you go outside and you meet up with friends, you have a fantastic time, you come walking through the door, your brain does a quick calculation. I'm normally here, my energy level is here, and you make the inference, I've had a great time, wasn't that wonderful? And you tend to do it as you cross into your home. But you
mm,
get home having done some busy day and some tasks, some frustrating things, and you get to the doorstep and you kind of go, oh, because your brain has just assessed, oh, my energy's down here and it's normally here. Oh, you feel drained. It
yeah.
depends who you're with. And so adaptive is actually really good for helping you reset your thermostat because they did a
Mm,
study and post COVID, post the pandemic, a lot of people's thermostats completely changed. They got really comfortable being at home. So when they left the home, the stress and the overwhelm was really close. And so what Adapt is going to do is it's going to help remind them where the thermostat is so that they can do more. It's just a
yeah.
fantastic oil.
It is a fantastic oil and it's great for meditation, for breath work, inner child work, trauma work, all of those things because it helps so much with the emotions that are likely to come up. So, fantastic oil. I mean, I got through a whole bottle of these when I was doing my Kickstarter for this deck.
I'm not surprised. That was a lot of stress. Yeah,
It was a lot of stress.
yeah.
Um, and
You can
I
you
absolutely
can
love it.
spritz, you can put this in a little spray bottle, get those little spray bottles, top it up with just water from the tap, filtered water, a few drops of this, give it a shake and spritz it around as like an air fresher. You can spritz curtains
Mm,
and carpets with it and get that lovely smell. I tend to put it in on these little balls that go into the tumble dryer so that
mm.
my clothes and things smell of it. You can put it in a diffuser. You can just smell it out of the bottle. You should definitely put it on. Sometimes I have a bottle of this by the front door. So if I'm leaving the house, as soon as you leave your house, the stress starts to rise. So you can put this on your wrist and just have a little breathe as you go. I often put it in my hair, Susie, so that when I'm out and about and I move my hair around, I get little wafts of the adaptive. Yeah, I love it.
Nice. I was putting a drop on my pillow every night because it really it helps you to sleep,
Yes,
helps
and I
relax the
tend to do
mind.
that and Serenity as well. Serenity knocks me out though. Adaptive lowers my stress, but doesn't knock me out. Serenity's like, so
Yeah, definitely. We'll do an episode on Serenity. Right, so
oh
let's just see
yes, is
what
it time?
card is going to come up today
What's the
to help
question,
us.
Susie? What question are we asking? What should I ask
I was
for the
just
card?
thinking that. Oh, I gave some good questions earlier and I can't remember what they are. Where are we leaking energy at this time? Where are we
That's a
leaking
good question.
energy?
Where am I losing energy? I could almost predict what card's going to come out
Oh,
for that. Oh,
okay, so
that's too many.
I've got
I got the
karmic
perfect card
relationships. And really
for me.
strangely, this morning,
Yeah.
sorry, yesterday morning, we were talking about karma on Soul Talk. So, karmic relationships can drain your energy and can be incredibly overwhelming. Now, the first thing I want to say about karma is it's not punishment, it is neutral. It's neither good, it's neither bad. We all have karma that we have agreed to in this lifetime, right? So we've all had many past lives, and in a past life, right, we may have um, done something nasty, right? So, yes, we will have to work that karma off in this lifetime. But we have many lifetimes where we've been really good, really bad, and everything in between, right? So that we have a full picture of what everything is like. So let's say you've been the murderer in a past life. In another life, you would be the person that was murdered. If you and then you might have been the parent of someone murdered and the sibling of someone that was murdered, right? So you get the whole picture. And when we're talking about karmic relationships, these can be really, really draining because there is karma involved. So you have agreed to meet this person in this lifetime to learn a lesson, to grow, to evolve, right? And if one of you isn't ready for that, then it can be incredibly draining, overwhelming, emotional. Okay,
Mm.
now when we're talking about karmic relationships, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, any relationship. It could be father daughter, it could be friendship, it could be mother son, right? It could be brother sister. So if you have relationships that are causing issues in this lifetime, right, the chances are that it is karmic and there is something to either do, experience, learn to help you to grow and evolve. And I mean, I've certainly been through this.
Hmm.
Right. And I think we all go through this. So the theme at the moment is these karmic relationships that are draining the energy collectively because we're not understanding their purpose fully. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I got boundaries.
Yeah. So that's a really, really big one, right? If we don't have boundaries in place, we are leaking our energy. That is massive. Right? So if we don't have boundaries in place with people that are needy, people that want our attention, that are taking our time, or we don't have boundaries with ourselves, as in putting ourselves first before we help everybody else, then that is draining our energy. So boundaries are so important.
Mm.
And this isn't just with people, this is with ourselves,
Hmm.
this is with our business, our job, our free time and all the things. We have to have boundaries. So important.
Excellent. So if I create some boundaries and stick with them, that is saving my energy because I'm yes, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
I need to
yeah,
do
yeah,
that. I do. I have been setting boundaries. I mentioned about the food. Bad boundary was I didn't need to eat and I stuck with it and I felt so good afterwards. So
yeah.
you're right. I felt great. My energy levels came up. So that's what I need to focus on then this week.
Yes,
Boundaries.
definitely. So boundaries, especially at Christmas.
Mhm.
Put boundaries on, where you go, who you see, how much time you spend, what is and isn't working for you, what's in alignment with you, and all of those things, right? We did last week, we talked about your sacred yes and your sacred no.
Yes.
So go check that episode out so that
Yeah.
you know what is and isn't in
Mm.
alignment with you and then put boundaries in place with the things that are not in alignment with you so that you don't leak your
Oh
energy.
my goodness, that works so well, doesn't it? Because now I know the need for my boundaries. It's
Yeah.
going to save my energy, and I also know how to decide yes or no, and yeah, and
Yeah,
be happy with that decision.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's have a quick chat on how to reset and reclaim your energy.
Yes.
So you can do rituals, of course, but just make
Not too
sure
many.
that not too many.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell us the rituals then, Susie. What am I going to do? Am I going to be lighting a candle? Is that going to
yeah,
be
you can always light a candle.
put a bit of adaptive in on the top of the wax and
Yeah.
light a candle?
So you can put adaptive on the soles of your feet as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that for sleeping just as a ritual, or you can ask, what is the energy that I'm clearing today? Okay, and you can just allow that to sink. You can do like a journaling ritual, like a candle, put some adaptive in your diffuser, maybe put some nice music on, ground yourself and just journal, just see what comes up. If you ask,
Mm-hmm.
what energy am I clearing today? So this is great to do with the full moon. Always good to clear stuff with the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
You can do some smudging, of course, with sage or Palo Santo.
I
Um,
noticed it on my desk. I have some from the other day.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
And I think I've got
Sage
some
is
Palo Santo
fantastic.
as well. Tiny little fragments of it.
Yeah, yeah, I love the smell of Palo Santo.
Oh, it does
Um,
smell lovely.
and you can take salt baths, so you can make a salt bath
Oh,
and put some
yes. Water.
adaptive in.
A shower. A shower is very cleansing, isn't it? Water's
Yeah,
very good for cleansing the energy and clearing.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, you could do a salt bath with adaptive, but also put tea tree and lemongrass in there as well.
Susie, have you ever had a shower, get the hot shower going, and then drip a few drips of essential oil on the bottom of the bottom of the shower tray, and as
Yeah,
the water hits it, gets steamy, you get this lovely scent.
yeah,
You could do
yeah,
that as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really, really good. Really good. So, what we want to do is to release as much overwhelm, energy leaks, and emotions as possible. So, have you got some affirmations for today,
I
Sally?
do, I do, I do, I do. Okay, so people are going to get that little drop of adaptive. If you don't have adaptive, I would choose sort of wild orange and frankincense, something like that. Um, I release what is not mine or
Yeah.
no longer serves me. My energy returns to me clean and clear. I am grounded, calm, and present.
Mhm.
I honor my capacity, my needs, and my boundaries. And clarity flows when I let go.
You know, when you really breathe this in, you literally feel such a relief. Like it's instantaneous, this one,
Yeah,
isn't
you
it?
could really feel it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can feel the peppermint in your nose, clearing your sinuses. You can feel the lavender relaxing you.
Mm, yeah. It's really,
Yeah,
you
I
can
love.
smell, if you focus on each oil, you can smell it as you go along.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, really, really love
So
adaptive.
just reminding people that there in this oil there is wild orange, lavender. We didn't talk about copaiba, but copaiba's in this blend as well.
Oh,
Spearmint, magnolia, rosemary, which is going to be helpful for concentration and
yeah.
focus as well. The neroli and the sweet gum. The sweet gum's an unusual one. It gives it a nice, sweet, rounded smell.
Oh, mm. If
Mmm.
only there was smelly vision.
I wish we had smell-o-vision for people. Yeah, yeah,
So, do let us know your questions. Please do like, share, and comment as well because it helps us to reach
Mhm.
more people and give them hopefully a little bit of upliftment and
Yes.
guidance
Mhm.
as well. So, and we'd love your questions and your comments.
Yep.
So, from us for now,
Yep.
thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Ciao.